Chapter 1531. Shut up. You're talking nonsense. Meng Shi immediately scolded him. Yunshin and Lu Tingxiao went to save Tang Shi at the same time? Not only Meng Shi but Meng Zhenhuan and the other leaders also thought it was incredible. The relationship between Yunshin and Lu Enterprises was complicated. Recently they had been fighting each other from abroad to home. If they were armed to the teeth, wouldn't it be an earth-shattering fight? How could they go to save Tang Shi peacefully? Even if Tang Shi had quit the organization, she used to work for Yunshin. Lu Tingxiao must have known about it and even suspected Tang Shi's motive for joining Xingshi Entertainment. Meng Zhenhuan looked at the leader seriously. Are you sure you didn't see it wrong? Meng Shi had been scolded by Meng Shi. Facing the suspicious eyes of the other leaders, the leader didn't dare to be so sure, so he said timidly, "Well, I'm not sure." Meng Shi nodded, took out her cell phone and said, "This idiot must have seen it wrong. There must be some misunderstanding. I'm going to contact Lu Jingli." Meng Shi was in the entertainment circle, so it was normal for her to have Lu Jingli's cell phone number, and Lu Jingli was well aware of Meng Shi's real background. Meng Zhenhuan didn't stop his daughter. This whole thing was really weird. Even if he was going to die, he had to know the truth. After finding out Lu Jingli's cell phone number, Meng Shi turned on the speaker. The phone rang more than 10 times and everyone's hearts were in their throats. Finally, a sleepy voice answered the call. "Hello, Mr. Meng. I'm Meng Shi. Sorry to disturb you so late at night. It's urgent, so I'll tell you directly. Our gang was suddenly attacked by Yunshin tonight, and we hope to ask President Lu for help. I hope you can help us. Our Meng family has helped Lu Enterprises a lot over the years, and we've cooperated well with each other. I believe President Lu will help us. If President Lu has any misunderstanding about us, we can explain." Meng Shi quickly explained the situation. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. Maybe it was because he had just woken up and was digesting Meng Shi's words. As time ticked by, everyone held their breath and stared at the phone. After a while, Lu Jingli's speechless voice came from the speaker. "Are you idiots? You sent people to kidnap my sister-in-law, and you want my brother to help you? Why don't you go to heaven?" Meng Shi, Meng Zhenhuan, the team leader and all the higher-ups. Second young master. What do you mean?" Meng Shi was dumbfounded. "I mean it literally. Little Cece is my brother's woman and my future sister-in-law. Do you understand? If it weren't for the fact that we've been friends for so many years, my brother would have done it himself long ago. How would it be anyone else's turn to perform?" Lu Jingli mumbled as if he was worried about the other party's intelligence, and then hung up the phone. There was dead silence in the study. Everyone's mind was filled with Lu Jingli's words. Ning Shi was his future sister-in-law, Lu Tingxiao's woman. Although this was too unbelievable, if that was the case, then everything could be explained. At the same time, it also meant that the Qing Shen sect was no longer able to turn the situation around because of the impulsiveness of their young mistress. It was completely over. Chapter 1532. Platinum Palace. Ning Shi deeply reflected on how she didn't inform Lu Tingxiao in time, which made him worry, and how she almost sat on her lap. Also, what happened during the day inevitably made her a little worried. She looked at the people Yunshin brought over and was shocked. They were all the core forces of the organization. Usually, these people were scattered all over the world, but now they were all gathered in the capital. That guy with the surname Yun actually transferred all the elites to the country. What was he trying to do? She had a feeling that this guy wanted to do something big, and it was related to Lu Tingxiao. Fortunately, she knew that although Lu Tingxiao was a businessman, his secret forces were definitely not weak. Plus, this was Lu Tingxiao's territory, so neither side could do anything to the other. The next day, Little Steamed Bun was currently focused on using special glue to glue the crystals onto the custom-made hairpin template. His little appearance was simply too adorable. Only the plastic part of the hairpin below the crystals was damaged. The crystals were still intact, so he just had to take the crystals off and stick them again. It was said that serious men were the most charming, but she felt that her little bun was the most charming. As expected of her son, he was so cute even when he was sticking something. Ning Shi held her chin and looked at him happily. "Oh, sorry baby. Mama will be careful next time and won't break it again." Little Bun stuck the last crystal, then pouted and blew on it. "Mama, it's okay. If you break it, Little Treasure will help you fix it." Oh, her baby was so spoiled. After the glue dried, a pink heart-shaped hairpin was made exactly the same as before. Little Bun personally put it on Ning Shi. "Mama looks so good." Lu Tingxiao had just come downstairs when he saw the warm and intimate scene between the mother and daughter. His cold expression became extremely gentle. Sister-in-law, good news. Good news. Super good news. At this moment, Lu Jingli rushed in from outside the door. What good news? Ningxi turned around and asked. Lu Jingli held a large stack of unknown forms and said excitedly, Sister-in-law, you were nominated for the Golden Palm Award for Best Actress, said Lu Tingxiao. Lu Jingli immediately looked sad. Oh, brother, how can you do this? I'm already so fast, how did you know before me? Can't you let me show off a little? Ningxi was stunned. What? Lu Jingli finally had a chance to speak. He immediately stuffed the form in his hand into Ningxi's and said, Your Dream Seeker has been nominated for Best Actress at the Golden Palms. It was written in black and white. The shortlist will only be announced in about 3 days. Ningxi quickly scanned through the list and saw that Dream Seekers had indeed been nominated for Best Director and Best Actress at the same time. Moreover, she also saw another familiar movie, The World. The World was also nominated? Ningxi asked. Lu Jingli leaned over to take a look. It looks like it. The World didn't catch up to last year's, so it was put on this year. Oh my, you were also nominated for Best Supporting Actress in The World. I only noticed that you were nominated for Best Actress, but I didn't notice. Chapter 1533. When Ningxi saw the words Best Supporting Actress, she was as excited as when she saw that Dream Seeker was nominated for Best Actress. After all, The World was her first movie and it had a special meaning to her. Being nominated for the Golden Palm Award, which was the most prestigious award in the country, was already an exciting affirmation for her, who was still a newcomer at that time. Then she glanced at the next line and saw, oh my god. Ning Xuelua was nominated for Best Actress with her terrible acting skills? Lu Jingli exclaimed and muttered, there must be something fishy going on, or she's just here to help. Ningxi finally finished reading all the lists and found that Ning Xuelua had been nominated for Best Actress in 2 movies at the same time. One was The World and the other was The Mountain. It seemed that Ning Xuelua was ready to fight a comeback this time. 2 of them were nominated. Are the judges blind or something? Lu Jingli continued to complain. Ningxi touched her chin and analyzed. Ning Xuelua's performance in The World was really good, so it's expected that she was nominated for Best Actress. Even now, many people said that Ning Xuelua's performance in The World was the pinnacle of her acting career. However, they did not know that Ning Xuelua's acting skills were largely forced by Ningxi. Later on, there was no sense of crisis, so naturally she could not achieve this state again. Ningxi paused and continued, as for The Mountain, it was released at the same time as Dream Seeker. The box office was only a few million, but this movie was not aiming for the box office, but for the awards. The genre and theme are very suitable, and the character settings can also please the academic judges, so it's not surprising that it was nominated. No matter whether Ning Xuelua had connections behind her or not, there should be no controversy about her 2 movies being nominated. However, Ningxi's Dream Seeker was once defined as a commercial melodrama, so it was really unexpected that it was nominated. Although her performance in The World was very good, the competition for Best Supporting Actress this time was very fierce. She saw several strong opponents, so it was still unknown whether she could win or not. Lu Jingli patted Ningxi on the shoulder. Xiao Cici, according to my speculation, you still have a high chance of winning the award. After all, you have the ability. Lu Tingxiao said, do we even need to speculate? Lu Jingli was speechless. Yes, there's no need to guess. Your wife is the best. Lu Tingxiao looked at Ningxi and comforted her. Don't be nervous. The reason why the Golden Palm Award is so respected is not only because of its professionalism, but also because of its fairness. In the end, the only one who can win the award can only rely on his own strength. Even if someone did something to it, they would never be able to reach the final result. Ningxi was really a little nervous. After all, it was the first time she had been nominated. But after hearing Lu Tingxiao's comforting words, she felt much better. Congratulations on being nominated, Mama. Little Baozi congratulated Ningxi in a childish voice. She even went to get a bouquet of flowers. Compared to Little Bun, the bouquet was simply too huge. It covered his entire body. Lu Tingxiao took the bouquet from Little Bun, put it in Ningxi's arms and kissed her forehead. Congratulations. Looks like this father and son pair were already prepared. Lu Jingli was a loner, but he still pulled out a bunch of car keys from his pocket. This is the company's reward. I sent it to you in advance. Thank you. Ningxi gently held the bouquet. At this moment, her heart was no longer worried about whether she could win the award or not. Instead, it was full of warmth. Chapter 1534. This scene overlapped with the scene when she got the role of Meng Chang'e. At that time she didn't even have anyone to share the good news with. She was about to eat hot pot at home alone when Lu Tingxiao came to her door with little Bun. Then the father and son congratulated her at the dinner table. What's wrong? Lu Tingxiao saw that Ningxi was in a daze, so he stroked her hair and asked. Ningxi smiled and shook her head. Nothing. I was just thinking about the first time you brought little Bun to my house. You were the first person to congratulate me. Unknowingly, this man had been with her for so long. From being a nobody, to finally making a name for herself in her dream. From being someone she thought was impossible to being with each other today. In the next few days, Ningxi returned to the set to finish the last few scenes of Ninth Heaven. Mengxi looked very haggard. Her makeup couldn't cover it up, but because she was very cooperative from beginning to end, the shooting went smoothly. Oh, we're done. Congrats. Everyone has worked hard. Oh, I can't bear to part with you. After the last scene ended, all the crew members cheered and even burst into tears. The director's assistant brought over a cake to celebrate. Everyone exchanged contact information and hugged each other reluctantly. Even though it wasn't the first time Ningxi had experienced such a scene, it was still the happiest and most satisfying moment for her. Hey, what about me? Why do you only know how to hug girls? Jiang Mai's face darkened. Ningxi smiled and hugged a certain proud golden retriever. Thank you, Senior Jiang. Humph. Feeling the girl's strong hug, Jiang Mai's expression was a little awkward and he sighed inaudibly. Perhaps he should be glad that he kept that secret so he could stay with her at this moment, instead of being like a certain someone. He didn't know what Ningxi had done to Imo Chinxiu. This guy had been deeply hurt recently. In short, just by imagining it, one could tell that it would be quite brutal. After a while, they agreed to go to the nearby Four Seasons Hotel for a meal. Ningxi was walking to the parking lot when she saw someone waiting there. Mengxi. When Mengxi saw her, she trembled like a frightened little animal. She didn't even dare to say a word. She bowed deeply and then ran away without looking back, as if there was some dreadful beast behind her. At that time, a certain animal had captured Mengxi and was prepared to let Ningxi personally kill her. At that time, Ningxi just rolled her eyes and refused. She didn't have the hobby of killing people easily. She just said that Nine Heavens was not finished and then left. It was probably because of her words that Mengxi managed to keep her life. It was said that a certain beast had wiped out the Qing Shen gang in one night. Many of the leaders had switched sides, and more than half of the higher-ups were dead or injured. Meng Zhenwan had been imprisoned, and Mengxi's entertainment company had gone bankrupt and was bought over. Logically speaking, after Yunshin returned to the country, it was necessary to control the underground forces and take over the Qing Shen gang. However, she didn't know why she hadn't taken action yet. The matter of her being kidnapped seemed to have become the fuse, prompting this matter to happen in advance. Chapter 1535. Although that guy could be quite annoying at times, there was no doubt that he was protective of his own people. Ningxi was stunned when she thought of this. It seemed that that guy still put her in his sphere of influence. Now, Mengxi didn't have an entire company around her, and she didn't have a huge background. She was just an ordinary artist in the entertainment industry, and it was already good that she didn't become crazy after being scared by Yunshin. It was even more impossible for her to have any crooked thoughts. Ningxi couldn't sympathize with Mengxi's fate even if she was a saint. Their world was like this, where the strong preyed on the weak. She had to be prepared to pay the price for what she did. If the person Mengxi kidnapped that day wasn't her but an ordinary girl, then the girl would be dead now. The next day, the nominees for the 53rd Golden Palm Awards were announced. The biggest annual awards in the entertainment industry immediately attracted the attention of the entire entertainment industry. As soon as the list came out, it caused a huge uproar. The most eye-catching was that Ning Xuelua's The World and The Mountain were nominated for Best Actress at the same time. In addition, The Mountain also won 8 awards including Best Film, Best Director, Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. It was the most nominated film in this year's film festival, and it was also a hot favorite to win. All of a sudden the evaluation of Ning Xuelua on the internet rose. All kinds of film critics came out with all kinds of fancy ways to flatter Ning Xuelua's performance in these 2 films. Ning Xuelua's fans who had been depressed for a period of time, were all excited because of Ning Xuelua's embarrassment at her wedding and being accused of slandering Ningxi. Our Xuelua is amazing. 2 nominations for Best Actress. That's amazing. The last time was 10 years ago. An actor's job is to act a good show, unlike someone who only knows how to take advantage of opportunities and steal the limelight. I heard that someone was also nominated for Best Actress this time. TSK, it's just a melodramatic romance and she was nominated for Best Actress. Are the judges blind? So what? She's definitely a supporting character. Ning Shi, a newcomer who had just become famous, was nominated for Best Supporting Actress and Best Actress at the same time. It was expected that she would receive a lot of attention and doubts. Of course, Ning Shi's fans' fighting power wasn't just for show. They swarmed to Ning Xuelua's fans and anti-fans, and many knowledgeable fans analyzed the inevitability of Ning Shi's nomination from all aspects. A melodramatic romance? There's a saying that goes, what you see is what you see. Only uncultured people like you would think that Dream Seeker is just a melodramatic drama. Our brother, she plays the roles of the female lead and the female lead's twin brother in the drama. He plays two different genders at the same time. From the beginning to the end, the transition was seamless and there was no dissonance at all. I watched it to my heart's content. You call that no acting skills? Also, brother, she acted as Meng Chang'e in The World. From an innocent girl to a female general who shouldered the fate of her family to a scheming demon concubine, Meng Chang'e's life was heart-wrenching. At that time, Ning Shi was just a newcomer who had just starred in her first movie, but she was already so good. Whoever dares to say that brother she didn't rely on his strength is blind. In short, since the day the list was announced, the two sides had been locked in a fierce battle. There were even many people online who placed bets on who would become the best actress. Chapter 1536. Nowadays, many private casinos had opened up and Ning Xuelua had the most bets placed on her. Lu Jingli, on the other hand, had secretly placed a lot of money on his sister-in-law, at Starlight Entertainment. Sister Xuelua is here. Congratulations, Sister Xuelua. Both films were nominated for Best Actress. She's amazing. The World received 4 nominations and The Mountain received 8. This time, Sister Xuelua is definitely going to be the Best Actress. That goes without saying. Sister Xuelua's only opponent is herself. Ning Xuelua responded to everyone's compliments humbly. It's not as exaggerated as you say. It's just a nomination. Besides, there are many capable candidates this time. Sister Xuelua, you're too humble. The Mountain is Director Feng's masterpiece. Who is Director Feng? He's a famous director who has won countless awards. How can those trashy commercial films compare to him? That's right. This award is definitely going to be Sister Xuelua's. But someone's fans are hilarious. How dare they compare a popular commercial film to Xuelua's film? That Dream Seeker doesn't even deserve to carry Xuelua's shoes, okay? Someone used The World to get nominated for Best Supporting Actress because of Sister Xuelua. How dare they let their fans criticize Sister Xuelua? How ungrateful. Ning Xuelua listened to everyone's flattery and disdain for Ning Shi for a while. Her gloominess was swept away. She smiled and said, I'll be treating everyone at Haojua tonight. Come over if you're free. Of course. Thank you, Sister Xuelua. After Ning Xuelua left for a long time, some of the artists behind her gathered in groups and whispered to each other. I don't think anyone knows who the best actress will be this time. Look at her, it looks like it's already in the bag. The internet is full of praise. Who knows how many fake reviewers they've bought. Ning Shi is no longer the girl who used to play small roles under Chang Li. She has good looks, resources and acting skills now. The 2 films she has made since her debut are of high quality. The Highest of the Heaven, which has just finished filming, is also a big production. I guess it will be a big hit later. With a few more prestigious awards, I think it's only a matter of time before she becomes the second Leng Manyun. She's much more reliable than Su Yimo, who's been playing the role of a goddess for 10,000 years and can't be promoted no matter how hard she tries. Ning Shi's only flaw is her poor family background. I heard that she came from a village and her family is very poor. Her parents are farmers. Compared with Ning Xuelua, who was born with a silver spoon, she is still not as good as Ning Xuelua. This kind of thing is born, there's nothing we can do about it. Speaking of this, everyone sighed. After all, like Ning Shi, they were all from ordinary families. They naturally envied and looked up to people like Ning Xuelua. The Golden Palm Awards this time were especially lively online. The popularity did not dissipate until a month later, when the awards ceremony finally began. Ning Shi was more or less a little nervous. After all, this was her dream for so long, and it was also the time to test the results of her hard work. Before the awards ceremony began, there was a smoky red carpet for celebrities. Every time the Walk of Fame was a place that female celebrities would fight for, and everyone would do their best to compete with each other for beauty. Ningxi was originally arranged to enter at the same time as another female celebrity, but she did not expect an accident to happen halfway. Chapter 1537. That female star was called Yi Zixuan. She was as beautiful as Ningxi. She was often called a vase as well as a goddess. Many fans liked to compare Ningxi and Yi Zixuan together. Because Yi Zixuan had been famous for a long time, she had many fans. Her supporters scolded Ningxi for overestimating herself. Of course, there were also many who said that Ningxi was better than the old. Although the two of them had never met before, their relationship was actually a little awkward because they were often compared. This time, the organizer deliberately put the two of them together to create some hype. After all, too many people wanted to see the two of them in the same frame. Lin Zhizhi naturally knew what the organizers were planning. Originally, she wanted to reject them directly because there would be no harm if there was no comparison. As long as one side's image fell, the other side would be seized by others to trample on and slander them. However, when Lin Zhizhi saw Ningxi's appearance on the red carpet, she completely dispelled the idea. She didn't want it, and Ningxi didn't have any objections, but Yi Zixuan had a problem. She refused to enter the red carpet with Ningxi just before they were about to walk down the red carpet. Fuck. How could this be? You should have said so earlier if you didn't want to. You only said you didn't want to walk with Brother Shi when we were almost at the door. What a scam. Xiao Tao was furious. Under normal circumstances, because of the limited time, people would enter the red carpet together according to the relevant people of each nominated film, or a male and female team, or a young and old team. Ningxi and Yi Zixuan could be considered a team. Except for special circumstances, only people with high status like Best Actor and Best Actress would enter the red carpet alone. But now, Shen Mian and Guo Qixing had already walked down the red carpet, and Ningxi was faced with the situation of walking down the red carpet alone. It was a little awkward. At this time, the black car in front of them stopped. Ning Xuelua and Su Yin got out of the car. Su Yin held Ning Xuelua's hand like a gentleman, and they walked forward together. As one of the biggest shareholders of Starlight Entertainment and Ning Xuelua's husband, it was normal for Su Yin to walk the red carpet hand in hand with her. Suddenly, the lights went off one after another, and the fans on both sides of the red carpet screamed incessantly. Forget about Yi Zixuan, the person walking in front of Ningxi was Ning Xuelua. That made things even more awkward. Lin Zhizhi quickly made a call. Jiangmai, are you coming soon? Ningxi needed a male companion at the moment. Can you hurry over? This time Jiangmai left alone. Lei Ming had arranged a female companion for him, but he refused no matter what. Anyway, he was used to doing things his own way and didn't care about what others thought of him. What's going on? Didn't Ning Xiaoxi leave with Yi Zixuan? Jiang Mai's voice came from behind. He was still holding his phone. Lin Zhizhi heaved a sigh of relief when she saw him. She immediately hung up the phone. Fortunately, she was able to call for help. As Jiang Mai spoke, he caught a glimpse of Ningxi in the carriage. Just a glance and a side view of her face stunned him. No wonder. He suddenly understood why Yi Zixuan had betrayed him at the last minute. She must have secretly found out what Ningxi was going to wear tonight. This wretched lass, tonight she was practically possessed by a demon. Which woman would be willing to go with her? Ah, he must be out of his mind. Chapter 1538. However, there would definitely be a line of men who wanted to walk with Ningxi. He didn't care. Well, as a normal man he was actually quite willing. TSK, his little assistant was quite smart this time. She knew to ask him for help first. On the stage at this moment, Miss Ning and Mr. Su are indeed a match made in heaven. As expected of our nation's husband and wife. I wish the two of you a happy marriage and have a son soon. I hope that Shui Luo will be able to win the grand prize tonight and have a good harvest in your career and love life. Alright, let's invite the two of you in. Although there were only two of them, Ning Xuelua and Su Yimo took up a lot of time. After all, they were a popular couple and had a strong background. The host praised them very much before turning to the people who were about to enter the venue. At this moment, the two MCs had already been told that Ningxi and Yi Zixuan were going to walk separately. However, they didn't know whether it was Ningxi who refused to go with them or Yi Zixuan who requested it. Under everyone's gaze, a black car slowly stopped at the end of the red carpet. First, a dazzling crystal high heel with diamonds stepped out, followed by a slender white. When the door was completely opened and Ningxi stepped out of the car, there was a dead silence. It was a strange silence. After a few seconds the camera flashes went off one after another. The screams of the fans on both sides of the red carpet almost broke through the night sky. Ah, brother she, goddess marry me. Brother she marry me. I want to have your babies. The girl's facial features were exquisite and perfect as if they were made by the hand of God. Her skin was washed by the moonlight and glowed in the dark. Her black curly hair was like seaweed. Tonight, she was wearing a red evening gown. The evening gown looked as if it had been burned by fire. There were many golden brown burn marks and the hem of the gown was irregular. Instantly, quite a few people recognized that the piece Ningxi was wearing was actually Nirvana, the legendary designer of Zhe Ling's first entry in the competition. He had stood out from the crowd and won the Golden Summit Prize. This bright red outfit was one of the most classic ones. Many actresses, including the famous model Qin Xingyue, had worn it, but none of them could wear it to such a stunning effect. Ningxi's entire aura was like a phoenix reborn from Nirvana fire, giving people a strong visual impact, perfectly matching the theme of this set of clothes. They all knew that Ningxi's women's clothes were as stunning as her men's clothes, and they also knew that Ningxi's beauty had always been extraordinary. But they never expected that she could be so stunning that all the makeup on the scene paled in comparison. In everyone's mind, a phrase suddenly appeared, "My flower blooms, 100 flowers kill." At this moment in a certain high-class apartment, Gong Shangzi, Qiao Weilan, Han Momo, and the others were watching the live broadcast of the award ceremony excitedly. When Ningxi appeared on the screen in Nirvana, Gong Shangzi's eyes suddenly shone with a dazzling light, and then his eyes quickly became wet. Previously he had suggested Ningxi to choose the two treasures of the shop, and he also thought that Ningxi's first choice would definitely be those two. In the end, he didn't expect that Ningxi would choose this one without hesitation. She chose this one that he had personally designed and made, and it commemorated his return to his dream, Nirvana. Chapter 1539. The moment Ningxi appeared, the two MCs on the stage looked at each other and saw the same thought in each other's eyes. No wonder Yi Zixuan didn't want to go with Ningxi. It was definitely not Ningxi's fault. It was Yi Zixuan who refused to be in the same frame, not to mention Yi Zixuan, which woman in the audience was willing to go with her. Wasn't that asking for trouble? Ning Xuelua deliberately slowed down. She wanted to see Ningxi's expression when she saw her and Su Yan together. However, she never expected that this damned woman could attract the attention of the whole audience with only her face. She was even more eye-catching than she was just now, this bitch. She was indeed a vixen. At this moment Su Yan was in a trance. His eyes were also filled with amazement. He listened to the audience's experience and felt the men's scorching gazes on her. His heart was filled with indescribable feelings. The little girl from back then had now become a dazzling superstar that could cause the downfall of a city, and the woman in front of him who could make all men crazy had her first love, the first person she liked, was him. She used to love him so much, adore him, and was willing to give up everything for him. Thinking of this, Su Yan's eyes suddenly burned with a strange sense of satisfaction. But the next second he seemed to have thought of something and immediately became gloomy. Ning Xueluan naturally noticed Su Yan's gaze. She looked at him with a forced expression and said in a slightly disappointed tone, "Big brother Yan, I'm so pretty today. She's better than all the other female celebrities." Su Yan nodded. Yes, she is. If it was in the past, he might have cared about Ning Xuelua's feelings and comforted her by saying that she was also very beautiful because of their different styles. But now, he really couldn't say anything against his heart. Ning Xuelua was speechless and her nails almost dug into the flesh of her palm. She gritted her teeth and looked at Ningxi again with a gloomy face. She saw that Ningxi got out of the car alone and didn't have anyone with her. As far as she knew, Yi Zixuan was supposed to go with Ningxi tonight, but it seemed that Yi Zixuan wouldn't appear. A tall tree attracts the wind. She deliberately showed off tonight. She would suffer later. As for Ningxi, Lin Jiji had already talked to Jiang Mai for her. After Ningxi got out of the car, she waited for Jiang Mai, who was in the car behind her, while tidying up her skirt. At the same time she greeted the photographers and fans around her, who kept shouting, "Brother Shi, look over here." Hearing the sound of steady footsteps, Ningxi turned around subconsciously and was about to go with Jiang Mai. But the next second she was stunned. Under her surprised gaze, the man naturally walked to her side, adjusted the hem of her dress, and then stood by her side, gesturing for her to hold his arm. Exit. Ningxi looked at the newcomer in surprise. Sweetheart? He had a face that could steal the brilliance of the sun and the moon. He had a powerful aura that belonged to a superior. He was like a proud and aloof aristocrat from a foreign country. Every move he made was pleasing to the eye. Every frame of the screenshot could be called a fashion blockbuster. He was more outstanding than any of the male celebrities present. Who else could it be but Lu Tingxiao? Why are you here? Ningxi lowered her voice and asked. Aren't you in need of a male companion? Lu Tingxiao asked with a deadpan tone. Ningxi's mouth twitched slightly. I need a male companion because I don't want to stand out on the red carpet alone. But if the male companion is you, then I'll stand out even more. Chapter 1540. But Lu Tingxiao was so fucking handsome today. In front of such a beauty, she couldn't bring herself to say no. What a tragedy. After an extremely painful struggle, Ningxi held Lu Tingxiao's arm without hesitation. Anyway, she could blame it all on Yi Zixuan. It was Yi Zixuan who refused to go with her. She could just say that Lu Tingxiao came to save the day. Ningxi found a perfect excuse to cover up the fact that she was attracted to Lu Tingxiao. Seeing Ningxi take Lu Tingxiao's arm and walk down the red carpet together, all the media, invited guests and onlookers almost went crazy. Ah, my God. Who is that? Who is that? Which star is Brother Xi's partner today? Why have I never seen him before? How can I not remember such a good-looking man? He's definitely not an actor. I guess he's the boss or a senior executive of some company. Because of the double visual feast, the fans were already in an uproar. Some people in the industry who recognized Lu Tingxiao were shocked. What the fuck? Am I seeing things? Is Ningxi's partner Lu Tingxiao? Several artists from Xingshi Entertainment were also very excited. Oh my God. Brother Xi is so beautiful today, even the big boss came to steal our eyes. Our company's combination is simply the best in history. Amazing. Ah, Starlight Entertainment is so stupid. How dare you brag in the future? How dare you sell yourself as the most good-looking person? In terms of looks, we are hundreds of streets ahead of him. One was a passionate fire, the other was a quiet black. They walked hand in hand leisurely. It was only a short red carpet, but the two of them walked out of the wedding venue. It was so dazzling that everyone's eyes were almost blinded. A certain Jiang Jinmao almost spat blood on the spot. Fuck, how can you cut me off like this? And Ning Xiaoxi, you're blinded by beauty. How could you go with him like this? Lu Jingli patted his nephew on the shoulder. We're all in the same boat. Don't be sad. Uncle will accompany you. Jiang Mai, who needs your company? When Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao finally walked to the signature wall, the two hosts finally came back to their senses. The two of them looked at each other and felt a little awkward. They had just praised Su Yan and Ning Xuelua to the heavens, saying that they were the most good-looking couple in the entertainment industry, and that they were the most eye-catching couple tonight. Now, in front of these two people, they were simply killed in an instant without even ashes left. Welcome to our brother Xi. Oh no. I should say Goddess Xi tonight. Welcome our Goddess Xi and Boss Lu. The two of you are too eye-catching tonight. Yes, the combination of a handsome man and a beautiful woman is a feast for our eyes. At the entrance, Su Yan looked at the man beside Ningxi, his face pale. Even though Lu Tingxiao was the big boss of Xingshi Entertainment and it was normal for him to walk the red carpet with his artists, he still felt gloomy and anxious when he saw Ningxi holding this man's arm. He even had a crazy thought. If he was the man next to Ningxi, after sending these two off, the couple behind them was also eye-catching. Lu Jingli put his arm around Jiang Mai's shoulder and dragged him to the red carpet. One of them was smiling like a peach blossom in March, while the other looked arrogant and impatient, which made the fans' Fujoshi souls burn. Chapter 1541. More than 2 hours later, the exciting red carpet stage finally came to an end. The exciting award ceremony had officially begun. The Golden Palm Awards were known as the Oscars of Chinese films. It was the highest honor for Chinese films. Anyone who paid attention knew that this award was a great affirmation of the film and the actor's abilities. Song Lin, Leng Manyun, Zhao Xizhou, Fang Xiaowen, Meng Shi, almost all the big names in the film industry had won an award here. To put it bluntly, the Golden Palm Awards signified prestige and status. The Golden Palms Award status was inseparable from its professionalism and impartiality. The judging process was strictly confidential, so all the nominated artists were extremely nervous. This included Ning Xuelua. She had used all her power to get Chang Li to help her get a shortlist in advance. She had also gotten a few more unimportant nominations for The Mountain in order to create momentum. In the end, she had no idea what the final results were. However, she had been nominated for Best Actress for 2 movies based on her own ability. She had the highest hopes and the highest chance of winning. Tonight, she was the center of attention wherever she went. The cameras on the big screen kept cutting to her. Ning Xuelua maintained a dignified and impeccable posture as she sat upright, a tranquil smile on her face. She glanced at Ning Shi from the corner of her eye and sneered inwardly. This is the Golden Palms Award ceremony. It's not a place where you can rely on your looks to please the crowd. In the end, you still have to rely on your strength. As long as she won this award, all the negative news from before would be washed away. And now, the matter with the Tang family had finally been resolved. She had sent people to investigate and found out that the Tang family had been asking for help everywhere. They had even naively tried to change their choice back. In the end, they had hit a wall everywhere and could only return home in vain. Everything was as she had expected. For a family like the Tang family who had no power or influence, they could only suffer in silence. Why would the relevant departments and organizations waste so much effort on such a thankless task just for them? Later, Sun Lan had even called her to ask if she knew about Tang Nua filling in the wrong choice and not getting into the Imperial Capital University. From the tone of her voice, she guessed that Sun Lan was trying to ask her for help in a roundabout way. She replied impatiently and hung up the phone. She absolutely could not be dragged down by such a family. Her surname was Ning, and she was the eldest daughter of the Ning family. She had nothing to do with the Tang family. Below the stage, all the stars had gathered. In the middle row were the film crews of The Mountain, The World, and Dream Seekers. On the stage, the beautiful host He Jiaying slowly walked over. Good night, distinguished guests and friends from all over the world. I'm your host He Jiaying. Welcome to the 53rd Golden Palm Award ceremony. After the passionate opening remarks, the audience burst into thunderous applause. After a short warm-up, it was time for the official award ceremony. Next, we will present the Best Visual Effects Award. As you all know, this award represents the fourth creation of a film and is one of the most important parts of a film. Now, please take a look at our nominees on the big screen. After the first few awards were over, the guest performers went on stage to sing. After a short period of relaxation, the award ceremony entered a small climax. He Jiaying said excitedly, "The next award we will be presenting is Best Supporting Actress." Chapter 1542. The audience burst into thunderous applause. The camera switched to the 5 nominees one by one and then put them in the same frame on the big screen, showing their expressions. Ning Shi was in the middle. The girl applauded with the audience, looking nervous. Of course, so did the others. Ning Xuelua sat calmly on the chair, looking at Ning Shi's nervous face on the big screen. Her heart was full of mockery and disdain. She was just the best supporting actress, why was she so nervous? On the big screen, clips of each nominated film were shown, and the speaker introduced them. Wu Yan's I Have a Secret, Lu Jingjing's The Tenant, Qin Kalin's Cafe No. 8. Ning Shi's The World. The last one was about Ning Shi's role as Meng Chang'e in The World. The organizer cut the most classic scene in the film. Ning Shi held Sun Huanqing, who was shot to death by thousands of arrows, and looked at the Chang and Imperial Palace in the void. A blood-red flower bloomed at the corner of her mouth, and with one look she changed from a general to a demon concubine. Just through the screen, everyone could feel the great shock. Ning Shi's performance was very impactful. Outsiders and those who hated Ning Shi liked to criticize her appearance, but most of the people present were professionals, and they were full of admiration for this new girl's acting skills. They were afraid that there would be another miracle in the entertainment circle in the future. Dear friends, now I'm going to reveal the winner of the Best Supporting Actress of the 53rd Golden Palm Awards. With the host's voice, the camera quickly switched to the 5 nominees and finally stopped in the same frame. Because the 5 cameras on the stage were together, Jiang Mai, who was next to Ning Shi, was not captured. That guy looked down at Ning Shi's tightly clenched fingers, curled his lips and said, "Why are you so nervous?" Ning Shi wanted to glare at him, but at the moment the camera was facing her, so she had to maintain her image. The winner of the Best Supporting Actress of the 53rd Golden Palm Awards is Ning Shi. As soon as the host's voice fell, everyone looked at Ning Shi and applauded. "I told you not to be nervous. Can't you be more ambitious? You're going to win all the awards in the future." Jiang Mai snorted. The next second, Ning Shi hugged him tightly. Before Jiang Mai could react, Ning Shi had already let go of him and hugged Guo Qixing and the staff on the other side. Ning Shi was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress in the World. She played Meng Chang'e in The World and showed her excellent acting skills. Following the explanation, Ning Shi accepted the congratulations from her friends around her. She calmed herself down and walked towards the stage. Looking at the girl on the stage, Jiang Mai felt empty in his arms, but he was quite satisfied in his heart. That was his CP in the drama. He was also proud of it. The host retreated and left the stage to Ningxi. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao was sitting in the first row. He was so far away from Ningxi that they could barely see each other. However, when Ningxi stood on the stage, she was very close to him. The man kept clapping, his gaze on her from beginning to end. His eyes were filled with pride. Even though she was just a supporting actress, it was as if she had done something amazing. Chapter 1543. Ningxi took a deep breath, stood in front of the microphone and began to give her acceptance speech. The World is the first movie I acted in, and it has a very special meaning for me. Here I would like to thank the Golden Palm Film Awards, the judges for their recognition of me, and my director Mr. Guiqixing for giving me the opportunity to play this role, and my partner Jiang Mai. There were very few people Ningxi could thank in this movie. She was framed by Ning Xuelua, terminated by the company and isolated and helpless. It could be said that this was the most difficult time for her. Jiang Mai was so happy when he heard his name. This girl still had some conscience. After all, he broke the rule that he would not act in a movie unless he was the male lead and made a huge sacrifice to play Sun Huanqing. Although he was almost hunted down by this girl because of the scandal at that time, finally, this movie is most grateful to. Ningxi paused and looked at the center of the first row of the stage. My boss, Mr. Lu. It can be said that without him, I would not be where I am today. Thank him for the trust he gave me. The camera immediately pointed in Lu Jingli's direction. After all, everyone knew that Ningxi was poached by Lu Jingli from Starlight Entertainment. At that time there was an uproar. Only Lu Jingli, who had a kind smile on his face, knew that the Mr. Lu that little Cici was thanking so affectionately was actually her brother. Acting is my dream, and it is also to be worthy of all the people who support me, trust me and love me. A gentleman will die for his bosom friends. Ningxi ended her acceptance speech with this sentence. There was a thunderous applause and this speech won a lot of people's favor. They could not tell that this girl was not only good at acting but also had a high EQ. Under the stage, Ning Xuelua maintained a smile and applauded with the crowd, watching Ningxi who was in the limelight. Damn it, she did not expect that she would really win the Best Supporting Actress award. After winning the Golden Palm Film Award for Best Supporting Actress, no matter how bad she was in the future, she would still be able to get roles. Most importantly, this prestigious award was a very powerful counterattack for a female star like Ningxi who had always been called a vase. Ning Xuelua took a deep breath and calmed down. She was just a best supporting female character. That's right, she deserved to be a supporting female character. A supporting female character for a lifetime would forever be her supporting character. Only she would always be the main character. The award ceremony continued. Following that, the world won another Best Action Design award. Other awards were also announced one after another. The Mountain, which was nominated for the most awards, won the Best Original Screenplay award. The reaction from the audience was very enthusiastic. Everyone clearly felt that this award was well deserved. With such a good script, it was very possible for it to compete with the 4 major international film festivals. Obviously, Chi Feng came with this ambition. As for Dream Seeker, it was a small production after all, and the script was not original. They did not have the money to hire top-notch production staff, so naturally they did not have the chance to win awards like Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, Best Art Design, and so on. Therefore they only received 2 nominations, Best Director and Best Actress. The Best Actor award was won by a veteran actor who had been nominated 6 times. Then, it was finally time for the penultimate award, which was also one of the most important awards. The Best Director award. Chapter 1544. This time, there were a total of 5 films including The Mountain, The World, and Dream Seeker. The other 2 were sci-fi films and action films. Chi Feng, Guiqixing, Shenmian, Xie and Xiao Yanji appeared on the big screen. Not only these directors but the other leading actors were also very nervous. After all, they were bound together for good or bad. Ning Xuelua took a deep breath to ease her worry. Whether it was Guiqixing or Chi Feng, she could do it, but definitely not Shenmian. Jiang Mai was on Ningxi's left, Guiqixing was on her second left, and Shenmian was on her right. Opposite Shenmian in the front row was Chi Feng. Chi Feng had won the most awards. He had been nominated for the 4 major A-list film festivals many times and won the Golden Feather Award at the Lorraine Film Festival, which was one of the 4 major film festivals. He had won the Golden Feather Award twice and had made countless movie stars popular. This time, Ning Xuelua was acting in his film for free and had to comply with all his requests. Having seen too many such scenes, Qi Feng was naturally the calmest, and Guo Qixing was still smiling with a good temper. He had always taken the business route, and being able to be nominated this time was already a good harvest. As for Xin Mian's attitude, Xin Mian had talked to her before. It was unlikely that he would win this time. Although his nomination was enough to prove that there were many people who admired him, most of the judges for the Golden Palm Award were academics who liked literary films. The theme of their film was not to the taste of the judges. This time the guest presenter was a famous foreign director. He said in not very fluent Chinese, "Next, let me reveal the winner of this Best Director Award." Everyone held their breath and waited for the result. The reason why this award was so important was that the Best Director Award was the wind vane of the Best Actress. In many cases, the same film won the Best Actress and Best Director Award at the same time. The winner of this Best Director Award is Guo Qixing. Guo Qixing was very popular in the circle. There was a warm applause and everyone congratulated Guo Qixing. When Guo Qixing heard his name, he seemed to be stunned for a moment. Then he stood up and thanked the people around him. This time, Guo Qixing winning the award was unexpected but reasonable. After all, the timing, location, and people were all in the right place. The script was good, the funds were sufficient, and the actors' acting skills were up to par. Ning Xueluo's excitement was beyond words. She immediately got up and wanted to hug Guo Qixing. However, Guo Qixing turned to Ning Shi first and hugged her. Ning Xueluo's expression immediately turned ugly. He was not the first to hug her, the female lead. What did he mean by celebrating with Ning Shi, the female supporting character? Fortunately, Ning Shi was sitting closest to Guo Qixing, so it was reasonable for Guo Qixing to hug Ning Shi first. After that, Guo Qixing hugged Ning Xuelua, Zhao Xizhou, and the rest of the main cast and crew. Xin Mian also congratulated Guo Qixing with a smile. Qi Feng, on the other hand, had no expression on his face. On the stage, Guo Qixing thanked everyone in his acceptance speech. Just as he was about to step off the stage, the host deliberately asked to liven up the atmosphere. "Director Guo, can you predict for us who will win the Best Actress award this time?" It's worth mentioning that Xue Luo has 2 films nominated this time. Do you think The World or The Mountain has a higher chance of winning? Chapter 1545. This question was too difficult to answer, but the host liked to ask it every time. This time, because of the special situation, the question was especially tricky. Was his The World more likely or Qi Feng's The Mountain? How was he supposed to answer? Guo Qixing could only smile and dodge the question. He did not elaborate and change the topic. After the Best Director Award, there was only one award left, the Best Actress Award, which was the most anticipated winner of the Best Actress Award. It was obvious that everyone who was a little tired from the long and tedious award ceremony was suddenly energized. Thank you, presenter, and congratulations to the winner. The next presenters are Jiang Xingzhou and Song Lin. Just hearing the names of the 2 presenters was enough to make people's blood boil. One was a highly respected international director, and the other was the Grand Slam record holder, Song Lin. Jiang Xingzhou, good evening. Jiang Xingzhou was dressed in a black suit and had a scholarly appearance. He looked very friendly and kind, but everyone who knew him and had worked with him before knew that he would be a completely different person when he was filming. He was so strict that artists who worked with him went straight to see a psychiatrist. There were quite a few people like him. But there were still many artists who wanted to work with him, because almost all of his films won awards. Of course, he was very strict in his selection, and many people could not pass the first test. Song Lin, good evening everyone. Thank you for inviting me to present this award. Song Lin was dressed in a white evening gown. She was beautiful and elegant. At the age of 35, she had already won the Golden Palm Award, the Golden Luan Award, and the Golden Deer Award, the 3 highest Best Actress trophies in the Chinese film industry. She had also won a total of 12 trophies in various major Asian film awards. She was the youngest winner of the Grand Slam Best Actress Award in the mainland. She had also been nominated for the Best Actress Award at the Golden Globe Awards, which was known as the wind vane of the Oscars. She was one of the major representatives of the Chinese film industry. After a simple greeting and a few words of greeting, the big screen began to play the trailer. Su Jiao Jiao Canoe. Luo Cheat Alice's Mirror. Ning Xue The World. The world chose the scene of Shangguaning Rong, played by Ning Xue, smiling at the male lead under the pear tree. Next was Ning Shi's Dream Seeker. When the opening scene of Dream Seeker appeared on the big screen, which was the scene where a man dressed in men's clothes tilted his head and whispered to Shin Hanshin with a faint smile, there was a lot of exclamations from the seats. Regardless of any other factors, this was a purely physiological reaction that they had as an audience. Finally, it was time for the last nominated work. Ning Xuelua's name appeared on the big screen again. Ning Xuelua, Mountain. The trailer for The Mountain was in stark contrast to the extravagant and seductive style of Dream Seeker. The background was a rustic and desolate lush slope and a low mud house. Ning Xuelua was dressed like a peasant woman and spoke in an obscure dialect. It was almost impossible to recognize her. It was obvious that Ning Xuelua had really put in a lot of effort to win the award. If it was in the past, Ning Xuelua would never have been willing to play such a role. After the movie ended, the audience applauded enthusiastically. Ning Xuelua smiled humbly at the camera that was pointed at her. Chapter 1546. Next to Guiqixing, someone in the industry could not help but mutter, "Recently, the development of Taizhou's film industry is becoming more and more abnormal. After so many choices, they only chose Luo Qi. She's obviously a tag-along. Su Jiaojiao's movie is quite interesting. Even though Ning Xuelua performed exceedingly well with Ning Shi's Meng Chang'e there, it doesn't seem to be enough. Just by looking at Dream Seeker and The Mountain, Ning Xuelua really worked hard this time. She didn't even hesitate to ruin her image. Moreover, The Mountain is obviously more to the taste of the judges, right? Old Guo, what do you think?" Guiqixing chuckled. "It doesn't matter what I think. The key is what the judges think." The person next to him was unhappy. "Hey, it's fine if you laugh at the host, but you're not going to tell me the truth?" Guiqixing had a helpless look on his face. Then he could only say, "This award is for Best Actress." What do you mean?" Before the person next to him could figure out what Guiqixing meant, on the stage, the two presenters were ready to announce the final winner list. After Jiang Xingzhou and Song Lin humbly exchanged some pleasantries, Song Lin finally handed the envelope to Jiang Xingzhou for him to announce the name. Thus, Jiang Xingzhou opened the envelope and slowly said into the microphone, "Then, let me announce the name." Accompanied by the rapid drumming, the hearts of everyone in the audience rose to their throats. The camera swept over the guests one by one. Guiqixing, Qi Feng, Shin Mian, Su Yan, Lu Jingli, Lu Tingxiao. Finally, the big screen froze the faces of the four nominees. Everyone held their breath as they waited for the final result. Apart from the nominees and the seated guests, there was also the audience watching the live broadcast in front of their televisions. Gong Shangze, Qiao Weilan, Han Momo, the Zhuang family, Ning Tianxin, Annie Tang Nua, were all waiting in front of their televisions. The 53rd Golden Palm Awards Best Actresses. Ning. The moment they heard the word Ning, Luo Qi and Su Jiaojia's faces visibly darkened on the big screen. In contrast, Ning Xuelua's eyes suddenly lit up. Her manager and some staff beside her couldn't hide their emotions either. Some even stood up slightly to hug and congratulate her, Ning Shi. In the next second, Jiang Xingzhou's voice resounded throughout the entire hall. Everyone's ears were filled with that name, Ning Shi. After a second of silence, the crew of Dream Seeker let out an excited exclamation. Ji Yuming jumped over from behind and pounced on Ning Shi. "Brother Shi, congratulations." Ning Shi came back to her senses and hugged the people who came to congratulate her. At the same time, thunderous applause rang out. Ning Shi with the roles of Ji Feishue and Ji Feibai in Dream Seeker and the gender reversal. You have shown us your superb acting skills and rich inner thoughts. Let's welcome this year's movie queen to the stage. The host said excitedly. It was unknown if the cameraman had done it on purpose, but the camera suddenly flashed past and landed on Ning Xuelua. Ning Xuelua almost did not have time to retract her ugly expression. When she saw her face on the big screen, she immediately clapped her hands and put on a generous gesture of blessing. However, her expression looked a little forced no matter how one looked at it. Chapter 1547. As for the director of The Mountain, Qi Feng, when he saw the result, he had a look of "I knew it" on his face. In the end, the Best Actress award depended on the female lead's acting skills. No matter how good the script of The Mountain was and how much the judges liked the theme, it couldn't change the fact that Ning Xuelua's acting skills couldn't move the judges. The Best Screenplay award that they won was the biggest insult to them. They had let such a good script down. As time went on, the market for literary films became more and more bleak. Even directors like them couldn't keep their integrity and went to hire popular actresses to boost the box office. There were plenty of people who made cliché IP dramas. Chi Feng was no exception. Although he insisted on making a good script, he knew that Ning Xuelua's acting skills couldn't carry the show. In the end, he gave in to her background and popularity. Not only did she put in a lot of money, but she also acted for free. It was too hard to reject such conditions. Shin Mian, on the other hand, was able to go against the current and use a newcomer to produce a movie like Dream Seeker. Just from this point alone, he admired her courage. Of course, he was more envious. He was envious that he met an actress like Ning Shi. It could be said that without Ning Shi, the Dream Seekers wouldn't have existed. Even if it did, it would definitely be lost in the crowd. At the end of the day, actors were the soul of a movie. On stage, Ning Shi walked up to the podium for the second time that night. She bent down to take the Golden Palm Award trophy from Song Lin's hands. Then, she stood in front of the microphone and became the focus of everyone at the venue and in front of the TV. Ning Shi was still in a daze when she received the trophy and stood on this stage. 5 years ago, she was in a dark place where she couldn't see a trace of light. Now she was finally standing on this stage and receiving the Best Actress award. What's more, it was her longtime goal, Song Lin, who personally presented the award to her. She finally crawled out of hell and gained a new life. All of this was like a dream, floating on soft clouds, but it didn't feel real. Ning Shi stood there quietly and didn't say a word. No one in the audience rushed her, they all quietly looked at the girl on the stage. Compared to her dazzling aura when she walked the red carpet, the girl at this moment was completely calm. Her silence was so beautiful that no one could bear to disturb her. An old house in the imperial capital. The white-haired man sat in front of the huge screen, tilting his head as he looked at the girl standing on the podium. She left for something like this? Tang Ye's voice came from the side. Everyone has something that they hold on to and yearn for. Perhaps these things are worthless in the eyes of others, but to them they mean life. The man frowned slightly, his gaze still fixed on the girl. He really didn't understand before, but when he saw the girl's expression the moment she received the trophy, it seemed like he suddenly understood. On the podium, after a short moment of silence, the girl raised her slightly moist eyes and slowly said, "I'm very excited and honored to receive this award. What's more, I'm happy that my idol gave me this award." At this point, a small burst of laughter came from below the stage. Song Lin also had a smile on her face. The girl's attitude was excited and sincere. It did not make people feel that she was trying to curry favor. Instead, people were infected by her frankness. Chapter 1548. To be able to win this award, I want to thank even more people. I want to thank the crew, the director, my manager, and all the fans who supported me. I want to thank those who helped me when I was at my most desperate and darkest, when I wanted to give up everything. If Meng Chang'e is the start of my dream, then Ji Feibai is the first stop I've successfully reached. I still have a long way to go in the future. I won't forget my original intention. I will continue to walk down this path with all my heart. At this point, Ning Shi paused. Her burning gaze landed somewhere below the stage before she continued, "For my final dream, and for the person I love the most." As soon as she finished speaking, the audience burst into thunderous applause. With the song Stubborn, the Palme d'Or award ceremony officially ended. When I'm different from the world, then let me be different. I'm my own god where I live. Me and my proud stubbornness, I sing loudly in the wind. This time I'm crazy for myself. Yes, those who love me, don't be nervous, my stubbornness is kind. You don't care about my past, you see my wings. You say that only after being burned by fire can a phoenix appear. The direction against the wind is more suitable for flying. At this moment, the entrance of the award ceremony was surrounded by reporters. As soon as someone came out, they were immediately surrounded. Director Feng, this time, The Mountain received 8 nominations, but in the end, it only won the Best Screenplay award. Do you have anything to say about this? Director Feng, do you feel sorry for missing out on the Best Director award? Chi Feng walked forward without saying a word, as if he had no intention of answering the reporters' questions. Of course, the reporters wouldn't let him go. Director Feng, do you have any thoughts on the winner of the Best Actress award? Director Feng, don't go. Director Feng, say a few words. Surrounded by a group of people, Chi Feng suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked at the reporters quietly. Then he opened his mouth and said, "She deserves it." All the reporters were stunned for a moment. Then they suddenly reacted and the scene was in an uproar. Chi Feng actually said that Ning Shi deserves it? Obviously, they didn't expect Ningxi to receive such a high evaluation from the opposing director. At the same time, everyone sighed at Director Feng's demeanor. He could still say such words under such circumstances. As soon as Ning Xuelua walked out, she heard Qi Feng say those words. Her face turned green. Before she could recover, the reporters surrounded her like hungry wolves when they saw her. Soon she was surrounded tightly. Of course, it wasn't because she was in the limelight tonight, but because it was too embarrassing. This time, Ning Xuelua was the favorite to win the award, but in the end she got nothing, which really surprised everyone. She was totally humiliated. Just now, even her own director affirmed that Ningxi's acting skills were better than hers. The Mountain was nominated for 8 awards, but it only won one Best Screenplay award. What did that mean? Under the Heavens was nominated for 4 awards, winning Best Action Film, Best Director and Best Supporting Actress. The only award it didn't win was Best Actress. What did it mean? Even a blind person who didn't know anything would be able to tell? Shueluo, this time you had the highest chance of winning the award, but in the end you lost. Just now Director Feng said that Ningxi deserved it. Can you tell us your thoughts? The Mountain only won one Best Screenplay award. Does that mean that you didn't perform the essence of this movie? As everyone knows, you acted in this movie to change your career. Now that you've failed, what are your plans for the future? Chapter 1549. The reporter's questions became more and more heated. In the end, someone even asked her, how does it feel to be defeated by the former junior sister of the same company? Even Ning Xuelua's agent, Chang Li, was not spared. She was asked a lot of questions that almost made her want to die. After all, Ningxi, the movie queen, was driven away by her. Miss Chang, when you and your company terminated the contract with Ningxi, have you ever thought that Ningxi would have such potential? Miss Chang, have you ever regretted your decision? Excuse me, please make way. Thank you for your concern for our Xuelua. I'll arrange a group interview to answer your questions later. Chang Li and Su Yan tried to protect Ning Xuelua as they tried to break through the crowd. Mr. Su, what do you want to say about Miss Ning losing the Golden Brown movie queen? The reporters began to contradict Su Yan again. Under the pushing and shoving of the reporters, Su Yan frowned and said, Xuelua will always be the best actress in my mind. Hearing Su Yan's words, Ning Xuelua's face became a little better. Just then there was a burst of exclamations and screams from the crowd. It was Ningxi, the movie queen tonight. As soon as Ningxi appeared, the reporters who had surrounded Ning Xuelua just now all left. Even Su Yan couldn't help looking at her. Ningxi, congratulations on winning the Best Supporting Actress and Movie Queen. You won 2 trophies. As the biggest winner tonight, can you tell us how you feel at the moment? In such a short time, she has surpassed her predecessors who have been in the industry for many years. Movie Queen Ning is indeed born for the entertainment circle. I wonder what Movie Queen Ning will do next. I heard that director Jiang Xingzhou has offered you an olive branch. Is it true? Movie Queen Ning? Movie Queen Ning. Movie Queen Ning was supposed to be her, but now it had become Ningxi. Was Ningxi? Why was it Ningxi? She had prepared for so long and even made such a big sacrifice to play that dirty and lowly role. 2 movies were nominated at the same time, but Ningxi won the movie queen. How could she survive in the entertainment circle in the future? Since ancient times, people had always been trampling on the high and flattering the low. At this moment, people kept whispering, haha, Ning Xuelua said that actors should speak with their strength. TSK, what he said was right. As an actor, he should speak with his ability. She shouldn't have anything to say now, right? Her looks and acting skills are not as good as Ningxi's. I don't know where she gets her sense of superiority. Even men. With Ningxi's qualifications, it shouldn't be difficult for her to find a man richer and more powerful than Su Yan, right? Ning Xuelua felt as if there was a fire burning in her body when she heard those unpleasant words. Shut up, shut up, shut up. She was the distinguished Miss Ning of the Ning family, while Ningxi was just a lowly bumpkin. How could she compare with her? At the thought that she would be inferior to Ningxi in the entertainment industry in the future and be labeled as the one who lost to Ningxi, the jealousy and hatred surged up and almost swallowed her. No, she would never allow it. That countryside pheasant, that lowly adopted daughter. What right did she have? What right did he have to ride on her head? Due to her extreme anger, Ning Xuelua's entire body was trembling. When Su Yan went to drive the car, she immediately gave Chang Li a sinister look, hinting for her to take action. Chapter 1550. Chang Li immediately understood what Ning Xuelua meant. She asked hesitantly, "Do you really want to do this?" Chang Li had known that Ning Shi came from a humble family and was an adopted daughter of the Ning family. But now that she was about to expose this matter, she somehow felt a little uneasy. Didn't Chairman Ning say that Ning Shi's relationship with the Ning family can't be disclosed to others? Chang Li hesitated. "It's not your turn to interfere in my affairs. Just do what I tell you to do. Get out of here and do it." Ning Xuelua was on the verge of losing her temper. How could she listen to anything else? She didn't want to see Ning Shi strutting around in front of her. She didn't want to see her being despised and laughed at by everyone. Anyway, because of Ning Qiudong the bitch, the Ning family had two daughters, one biological and one adopted, which had been made public. At that time, in order to clarify, Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu were forced to stand up and make a public statement, claiming that Zhuang Lingyu was the eldest daughter of the Ning family and explaining that the other was just an orphan adopted from the countryside by the Ning family. At that time, many media wanted to find out who the adopted daughter was, but they were all suppressed by Ning Yaohua. However, since there was already a crack in the matter, it was only a matter of time before it was exposed. The media might even continue to dig further. Therefore, she might as well seize the opportunity and expose this matter by herself today. If this adopted daughter was someone else, it wouldn't be a big deal. But what if it was Ning Shi? What if it was Ning Shi, who was also in the entertainment circle and was on the opposite side of her? What would the media and the public think? They would think that Ning Shi was just an orphan from the countryside who was adopted by the Ning family out of kindness. She didn't know how to be grateful and even tried to substitute herself as the daughter of the Ning family. Most importantly, once the identity of Ning Shi's adopted daughter was confirmed, Ning Shi would forever owe the Ning family for raising her, which meant that she owed Ning Xuelua. Ning Shi would even be like a servant in front of Ning Xuelua. Ning Shi would always be inferior to Ning Xuelua. All the conflicts between them could be attributed to jealousy and ingratitude. She believed that Ning Yaohua, Zhuang Lingyu and everyone else, including the Su family, would stand on her side and prove that she was the real daughter of the Ning family. Today, she would take advantage of this opportunity to completely eliminate her worries and become the miss of the Ning family forever. She would replace Ning Shi's position so that no one would question this in the future. Seeing that Ning Xuelua was very determined, Chang Li had no choice but to find an empty corner and secretly make a few calls to the reporters that she had arranged earlier. They had originally thought that Ning Xuelua would definitely win the award this time, but in the end it was not 100%. The Golden Palm Award was indeed hard to predict, so in order to prevent the kind of accident that they didn't want to see the most, which was Ning Shi winning the award, Ning Xuelua had even prepared this plan. Chang Li thought about it and felt that exposing this matter was indeed beneficial to Ning Xuelua, and it could turn the situation around to a large extent. Therefore, she gradually felt at ease and watched the development of the situation in the dark. At this moment, a tall reporter suddenly rushed to Ning Shi and asked loudly, "Movie Queen Ning, you and Ning Xuelua both have the same surname. Are you related by blood? Is it true that you're the adopted daughter of the Ning family?" Chapter 1551. What? Ning Shi was the adopted daughter of the Ning family? In an instant, it stirred up 1,000 ripples. However, the more shocking thing was yet to come. The reporter continued, "You used to be a humble and vulgar orphan girl from the countryside. The Ning family felt sorry for you, so they took you in and sent you abroad to study. However, the first thing you did after returning to China was to enter the entertainment circle. You always went against Ning Xuelua and stole her limelight. You even colluded with your clansmen to create a drama in which you tried to take over the Ning family's property. You are so ungrateful and despicable. You don't deserve to be a human." Silence, deathly silence. No one had expected that Ning Shi would cause such a big scandal when she won the Best Actress award. If so, Ning Shi's inspirational image would become that of a villain intoxicated by success. Many of the reporters present recalled the statement that the Ning family had made some time ago. As for the adopted daughter of one of the parties involved, they couldn't find out who she was. They never expected that the person was Ning Shi. "Miss Ning, is what he said true? Are you really the adopted daughter of the Ning family? It is said that you cheated 10% of the shares from Mr. Ning. Is that true? You keep saying that you are grateful to those who helped you when you were in the most difficult time. Is this how you repay them?" Facing the harsh and contemptuous rebuke, Ning Shi's expression was extremely calm. She looked over the layers of reporters and quietly looked at Ning Xuelua, who was not far away. Ning Xuelua looked at her with a smile and mouthed, "I told you that all of this is mine. Ning Shuelua dared to confuse right and wrong because she knew that everyone would be on her side. She knew that even if everything was a lie, she could not defend herself. At this time Su Yan came back. Seeing the scene in front of him, his face suddenly changed. What's going on? How did these reporters know about that? Ning Shuelua shook her head anxiously. I don't know. It seems that the reporters found out the relationship between my sister and the Ning family. Last time what Aunt Chiu Tong and my sister said at the party had a great impact on me, so my parents had to make a public statement. At that time the reporters were already investigating. Even if my parents had been blocking the news, it would be exposed sooner or later. It's just that I didn't expect that it would be revealed at this time. Elder brother Yen, what do we do now? Ning Shuelua cried as she spoke. She grabbed Su Yan's sleeve and said sadly, Brother Yen, I can't watch my sister get misunderstood like this. Why don't I tell the truth to the reporters? They said that I was the adopted daughter and that Ningxi was the biological daughter of my parents. Su Yan's expression was extremely ugly as he blurted out, no. When Ning Shueluo heard this, a smug look flashed across the corner of her eyes. She knew that Su Yan would be on her side. She was his wife now and they were bound together for good or bad. If she lost face, he and the entire Su family would lose face. He knew very well who he should protect. At the same time Lin Jiji frowned. While protecting Ningxi, she revealed a hesitant expression. They really came prepared. You sure she can do it alone? Should we get someone to help her? Ningxi looked away from Ning Luoxue and Su Yan and said lightly, no need. Just let her in. Okay, Lin Jiji answered immediately. Chapter 1552. Due to the sudden commotion, Ning Shuelua, who was one of the parties involved, was soon surrounded by reporters. Shuelua, is Ningxi really the adopted daughter of the Ning family? Miss Ning, Ningxi has done so many terrible things to you. Why do you have to protect such a despicable and ungrateful person? Facing the reporters' questions, Ning Shuelua's face was full of grievances. No, it's not what you think. I believe there must be some misunderstanding. I really don't know why my sister did this. She seemed to be exonerating Ningxi, but in fact she confirmed what the reporters said. Sure enough, as soon as Ning Shuelua's voice fell, the crowd was in an uproar. Ning Shuelua did not deny it. Ningxi was really the adopted daughter of the Ning family. Ningxi really did those filthy things. Oh my god. They thought she was an inspirational goddess, but she turned out to be a despicable person. And the pure and kind Ning Shuelua had endured it until now. While the crowd was excited, there was a sudden stench. Everyone could not help but cover their noses. At this moment, someone forcefully and rudely squeezed through the group of reporters. Because the person was carrying something that smelled too bad, everyone moved away, allowing her to squeeze all the way to Ning Shueluo. Damn. What is that? Stinks. Stop pushing. Stop pushing. Who is it? Who is this person? Where did she come from? While everyone was complaining, they saw an old lady carrying a big black bucket all the way to Ning Shuelua. In the next second, the old lady poured all the filth in the bucket onto Ning Shuelua. In an instant, the scene was filled with a pungent stench, and everyone almost fainted from the ugliness. Ning Shuelua was stunned for a second, and then she let out an earth-shattering scream. When everyone realized what was going on, they were also shocked. They did not expect an old lady to suddenly appear and pour feces on Ning Shuelua. Before the crowd could figure out what was going on, the old lady screamed even louder than Ning Shuelua's scream, Io. We're going to die. We're going to die. Our whole family is going to be driven to death by this little bitch. This was big news. Everyone's first reaction was to raise their cameras instead of helping Ningxi. However, they could not be blamed. Even Changli and Su Yan were dumbfounded. They did not dare to touch Ning Shuelua, who was covered in filth. Only Ning Shuelua was jumping around like a madwoman. Someone. Guards. Guards. His helpless voice was completely drowned out by the old lady. Don't be fooled by this little bitch. She's not some rich missy at all. She's just a lowly girl from the mountains. She's my old lady's granddaughter. She was mistakenly switched at the hospital, and that's how she ended up in a rich man's house. After marrying into a rich family, she forgot her roots. Not only did she ignore us, but she was also afraid that we would expose her identity and force our family to die. Our family was forced into a corner by the hooligans. My grandson begged her in God, but she ordered the servants to chase my good grandson and her own brother away like they were beggars. She was afraid that people would find out that she was a little bitch, so she changed her brother's choice and didn't let him come to the capital to study at the university. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Ning Shuilua's face was full of fear, and she rushed over like a madwoman. Before Ning Shuilua could get close, the old lady fell to the ground with a thud. Ouch, murder, murder, help. Chapter 1553. Ning Shuilua had never met such a shameless person. She stepped back in fear. No. I didn't touch her at all. The old lady, who had been alive and kicking just a moment ago, was lying on the ground, dying. She cried, "She wants to kill our family so that no one will know about her dirty deeds. What kind of sin did our Tang family commit to produce such a vicious woman?" Ning Shuilua was so angry that she almost fainted. No, it's not like that. Don't believe her. I don't know what she's talking about, and I don't know her at all. You've changed from a pheasant to a phoenix. You've never come back, so naturally you don't recognize this old woman. However, even if this old woman hasn't seen you once, I still recognize you. You are a member of our Tang family. A glint flashed through the old lady's eyes, and her tone was extremely firm. Changli finally came back to her senses. She pinched her nose and rushed over, shouting, "Security? Where are the security guards? What the hell is wrong with you? How could you let such a person in?" Changli said and stared at Ningxi. "Ningxi, don't go too far. Do you think you can confuse right and wrong by sending an old lady with an unknown background? You still don't know how to repent. You're so shameless." Changli had always thought that Ning Shuilua was the eldest daughter of the Ning family, and Ningxi was an adopted daughter, so she thought that Ningxi must have done it on purpose. When everyone heard this, they all looked in Ningxi's direction with a sudden realization. Yes, how could it be so coincidental? As soon as the news that Ningxi is an adopted daughter was exposed, an old lady from the countryside who claimed to be Ning Shuilua's biological grandmother appeared and said that Ning Shuilua was switched at birth. Maybe Ningxi did it on purpose. I think it's possible. Seeing that the situation was getting better, Ning Shuilua was overjoyed, and then she looked a bit crazy. "Ah, Ningxi, you're so naive. You think you can kill me with the help of the Tang family?" However, before Ning Shuilua could show her complacency, her face turned pale the next second. Mom, what are you doing? Why are you here? Mom, get up. Get up." It was Sun Lan. Everyone only saw a middle-aged woman with a sallow complexion rushing over, calling the unreasonable old lady Mom, while anxiously trying to help her up. What shocked everyone at the scene was that other than her slightly bad skin, the middle-aged woman's facial features were exactly the same as Ning Shuilua's. When the old lady saw Sun Lan, she immediately slapped her. "I'm not coming. Why can't I come? If I didn't come, Xiao Nua's future and our whole family would be ruined by you. Do you think you can sit back and relax after helping Xiao Nua this time? When Xiao Nua comes to the imperial capital, to this little bitch's territory, who knows how she will harm Xiao Nua, you idiot. Fine, you don't care, all of you don't care. Then I will take care of it. I absolutely cannot watch our Tang family be destroyed in the hands of this little slut." The reporters at the scene looked at each other, dumbfounded. What's going on? Don't you think this woman looks like Ning Shuilua? What do you mean similar? They're practically carved from the same mold. Damn. Is this woman really Ning Shuilua's biological mother? Ning Shuilua looked at Sun Lan's face and listened to the discussions around her. She shook her head in panic and stepped back step by step, as if she had seen something extremely terrifying. No, she's not. She's not my mother. No, I'm the eldest daughter of the Ning family. I'm Zhuang Lingyu's daughter. She thought that she was in control of everything, but she forgot that bloodline was something that could never be erased. Even a paternity test could be faked. Then what about this face? Her face, which was exactly the same as Sun Lan's, completely exposed all of her lies to the sun. Chapter 1554. Not only were the reporters and other artists stunned, but even Changli was stunned. She stared blankly at the countrywoman, speechless. What was going on? Oh my god. Was it real or fake? Ning Shuilua is not a rich girl at all. How could her biological mother and grandmother be such people? Then why have the Ning family been insisting that Ning Shuilua is her biological daughter for so many years? Things were getting more and more confusing. After a short period of confusion, the reporters all rushed to Ningxi's direction. Miss Ning, what happened? Can you explain it to us? Ningxi, do you know these two people? Ningxi, what's your relationship with them? The old lady pushed Sun Lan away and rushed to Ningxi. Without saying a word, she began to cry, Ningxi, Ningxi, they don't believe my words. Tell them that this girl is a bitch. I didn't say a word of lies. If I lied, I would be struck to death by a bolt of lightning from God. I know that in the past 18 years when you were in our Tang family, I often beat you and scolded you because you are a girl. Just think of it as Xiao Nua. Xiao Nua has always treated you as her own sister. Although that child hid it from me, how could I not know that he secretly saved meat and hid delicious food for you, his sister? Gu Shijio thought. Do you still remember when you were young? We were so poor that we couldn't even feed ourselves. I had no choice but to throw you into the mass grave. Who knew? Xiao Nua got a high fever not long after I threw you away. She kept calling me sister. I had no choice but to bring you back. Your life was saved by Xiao Nua. Xiao Nua was the one who saved your life. She was so poor. Even if the Tang family has wronged you, it is that bitch who wronged you. She was greedy for wealth and power, and she didn't let go of your parents. The old lady revealed more and more information, and everyone listened attentively. At the same time, Sun Lan, who was surrounded by reporters, had completely lost her sense of propriety. She could only defend Ning Shuelua out of instinct, and kept waving her hands to deny, Don't ask me. Don't ask me anymore. No, I'm not. I'm not her mother. I don't know who she is. I don't know her. She's not my daughter. She's the eldest daughter of the Ning family. Ningxi is my daughter. Yes, Ningxi is my daughter. If Sun Lan insisted that Ning Shuelua was her daughter, it might have aroused suspicion. However, at this moment, Sun Lan's protective attitude towards Ning Shuelua made all the reporters even more certain that she was Ning Shuelua's biological mother. And Ningxi is your daughter? Why didn't she look in the mirror to see what she looked like? Could she have given birth to Ningxi's face? Facing the swarm of reporters and questions, Ningxi only said one sentence from beginning to end, I did live in the Tang family for the past 18 years. As for me and the Ning family, whether it is in the past, present, or future, I have nothing to do with them. She didn't know what was going on. Ning Shuelua frantically tried to find someone to stop everything, but no security guards came. She didn't know what was going on. It wasn't until Ningxi finished speaking that someone finally came to disperse the crowd. Shi Shao and several bodyguards protected Ningxi as they left. Chapter 1555. The storm had finally calmed down. However, for some people it was just the calm before the storm. In the luxurious car, Chang Li was wiping Ning Shuelua's hair with a towel while enduring the stench. As for Su Yin, he had just received a phone call and hurriedly returned home. Ning Shuelua was covered in filth. Her hair was wet, her eyes were bloodshot, and her body was trembling. Her expression was hideous. Chang Li didn't dare to provoke her at this time, but her phone had been ringing off the hook. Even her boss had called to ask about it. So Chang Li could only bite the bullet and ask, Shuelua, this matter is too big. I have to explain everything immediately, or the consequences will be unimaginable. But before I do that, I have to ask you one thing first. What the old lady and the woman said. Is it true? Slap. Ning Shuelua slapped Chang Li's face. Shut up. Idiot. How could it be true? Chang Li covered her burning cheeks. Although Ning Shuelua denied it, she had been by Ning Shuelua's side for so many years. From Ning Shuelua's flustered and exasperated reaction and the fear in her eyes, she knew that everything was probably true. Ning Shuelua, who had always thought that she was nobler than others, who had always called Ningxi a country bumpkin. She was the wild chicken. That ungrateful, despicable person was Ning Shuelua herself. How did she put the blame on Ningxi without batting an eyelid? How did she persuade the Ning family to sacrifice their own daughter to protect her? Just how deep was this woman's schemes? Chang Li shuddered at the thought of this. Ning Shuelua shouted, Go. Send me a statement. Say that it's all fake. That damn old woman is fake. That bitch is fake. Ningxi and those people are slandering me. Chang Li looked embarrassed. Now that the Tang family has come out to say this, the reporters are like locusts following the clues of the Tang family. There are too many flaws. Sooner or later, the truth will be revealed. Not to mention, you and that person's appearance. Are you done? Ning Shuelua slapped him again. Chang Li immediately fell silent. In just one night, the incident from last night had already spread like wildfire, and everyone in the world knew about it. Even though the Su family and the Ning family used their connections to try to suppress this matter, they still couldn't do anything about it. Almost all the headlines of the newspapers and magazines were about last night's incident. They were all pictures of Ning Xuelua and Sun Lan together. The media found out that Ning Shi had lived in the Tang family for 18 years as the daughter of the Tang family. When she was 18 years old, she suddenly left home. The neighbors all thought she had gone out to work. It was useless to find out these things, but last night, Ning Xuelua admitted that Ning Shi was the adopted daughter of the Ning family. Previously, Ning Yaohua had said in his statement that his adopted daughter was an orphan, which was why he adopted her. Why did Ning Yaohua lie to the public? Why did he adopt an 18-year-old girl who was not an orphan and change her surname to Ning? Why did Ning Shi's mother not look like Ning Shi, but looked exactly like Ning Xuelua? Just as Chang Li had said, there were too many flaws in the story. So no matter how much Ning Xuelua denied it, it was just sophistry in the eyes of others. Overnight, Ning Xuelua's image of a fair, rich and beautiful, the daughter of a rich family, and the winner in life, collapsed. Chapter 1556. The cliché of carrying the wrong daughter was aimed at two popular actresses in the entertainment industry, Starlight and Golden Age, and Ning Shi, the new movie queen. The Su and Ning families couldn't suppress such a terrifying amount of attention from the public. In a short period of time, the media had interviewed almost all the people around Ning Xuelua that could be dug up. Everyone wanted to make a big piece of news for the headlines. One of them caused quite a stir. A certain media outlet revealed an interview with Ning Yaohua's younger brother, Ning Yaobang. In the video, Ning Yaohua was drunk and was being questioned by a reporter. "Reporter, Mr. Ning, have you heard about the rumors about your niece?" Ning Yaohua, "Oh, of course I have." Reporter, "What's the truth? Mr. Ning, can you tell us?" Ning Yaohua, "Ha ha. The truth? The truth is that my stupid brother and his family didn't want their own daughter and treated that pheasant like a treasure." Reporter, "Then why did your brother do that?" Ever since Ning Xuelua and Su Yan got married, Ning Yaohua's days in the company had been getting harder and harder. His daughter, Ning Tianxin, was nowhere to be found, so he was in a bad mood recently. He said with a gloomy face, "That little bitch. She has a lot of tricks up her sleeve. How could Ning Shi win against her? She had the ability to trick Ning Yaohua into giving 15% of his shares to that bastard. The Ning family. Ning Yaobang. Look at what you've done." Ning Yaohua had just finished watching the video on the computer when he called Ning Yaobang over. He was currently pounding the table in anger. After all, it was said by a village woman. Not everyone would believe it. But now Ning Yaobang, his biological brother, dared to say such things in front of the reporters. Now there was no way he could clear his name. Ning Yaobang looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. He crossed his legs and said sarcastically, "If you have the guts, go and vent your anger on your baby daughter." "Why are you angry at me? I didn't expose these scandals. I just said a few words of truth. The one who said that was your good daughter's grandmother, and the one who put on that face in front of the camera as if she's afraid that people don't know she's a pheasant is your good daughter's mother." "Shut up. Get out of here." Ning Yaobang patted his butt and stood up. Yes, I will. I'll wait and see what will happen to you after you hand the company over to this country bumpkin girl." Someone knocked on the door not long after Ning Yaobang left. "Come in, Dad." Ning Xuelua pushed the door open and said. Seeing Ning Xue, Ning Yaohua had a complicated look on his face. "You're here." Ning Xuelua did not sit down. Instead, she knelt in front of Ning Yaohua's desk. "Xuelua, what are you doing?" Ning Yaobang immediately stood up. "Dad, I've done you and Mom wrong. I've let the Ning family down. It's all my fault. I've dragged you into this." Ning Xuelua's body trembled violently. "I'm willing to take responsibility. What do you want to do?" Ning Yaohua frowned. "The reason why this matter has received so much attention and influence is because I'm from the entertainment industry. The only thing I can do now is to quit the entertainment industry." Ning Xueluo's face was pale and painful. She looked like she was making a huge sacrifice. However, her image had collapsed to the point of no return. Even if she continued to stay in the entertainment industry, she wouldn't be able to survive. Chapter 1557. I'll make an announcement that I'm quitting the entertainment industry, permanently. That way no one will pursue this matter anymore. Otherwise, as long as I'm still in the entertainment industry, this matter will be brought up again and again. At this moment, Zhuang Lingyu's voice came from behind. "Xueluo, what nonsense are you talking about? Isn't acting your favorite thing to do? Is it your dream? Actually, this matter isn't as serious as you think. So what if everyone knows that you're not our biological daughter? You're still the Missy of the Ning family. As for those groundless rumors and the nonsense that your second uncle said, there's no evidence at all, so don't bother about it. After a long time, no one will remember it. Ning Xueluan naturally knew that this matter seemed to be very serious, but compared to the death penalty for artists like drug abuse, cheating, and involvement in politics, her matter was at most a personal problem. It would affect her image, but it was not to the extent that she would be banned. The reason why she had entered the entertainment industry was because she knew that Ningxi liked to act, so she wanted to get what she couldn't get. Of course, she could continue to stay in the entertainment industry, but from now on she would have to bear the name of a dove occupying a magpie's nest. From then on, wherever she went in the entertainment industry she would have to bow down to Ningxi. How could she endure such humiliation? How could she watch Ningxi strut around in front of her? So now she might as well take a step back and directly quit the entertainment industry. Ning Xuelua was still kneeling there looking determined. Dad, Mom, I've already decided. As long as I can minimize the impact on the family, I'll do anything. Zhuang Lingyu bent over and hugged her daughter with a pained expression. Xueluo, you've suffered. Ning Yaohua sighed helplessly. Xueluo, you've really suffered this time. Zhuang Lingyu's face was full of anger. How could that old lady have the ability to come all the way from the countryside to such a place? It's obvious that someone is behind all this. And she purposely chose such an occasion to make such a big deal out of it. Ning Yaohua's face was ugly. This time, Ningxi has really gone too far. Does she think that by doing this she can force us to acknowledge her? She must be dreaming. I only hate that I didn't give birth to Xueluo. Why did you let Xueluo suffer so much for nothing? Zhuang Lingyu said sternly. Seeing how Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua were protecting her, a hint of pride flashed in Ning Xuelua's eyes. She said gratefully, Dad, Mom? I'm not wronged. Really? Actually, this is also good. This way, I can focus on helping my parents take care of the company. Recently, history is in a critical period and there are a lot of things to do. Xueluo, it's good that you can think this way. Everything will pass. Mummy and Daddy will always stand by your side. Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua comforted Ning Xuelua for a long time. After Ning Xuelua walked out of the study, only Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua were left. Ning Yaohua was badly battered by this matter, and his complexion was not good. At this moment, he was staring blankly at a newspaper on the table. The newspaper used an entire page to publish Ning Xuelua and Sun Lan's photos. The two similar faces constantly pricked at his nerves, reminding him that the girl in front of him was not his own flesh and blood. No matter how good they weren't biological children after all. If only he could have a son, how great would that be? As far as he knew, his second son had not given up on having a son, and he was always fooling around with young girls. It was a pity that he could not afford to offend the Zhuang family. Therefore, even if he wanted a son, he could only have one with Zhuang Lingyu. Chapter 1558. Actually, it was not entirely impossible to have another child with Zhuang Lingyu. Zhuang Lingyu gave birth to her first child in a small village with poor conditions. Her uterus was accidentally infected during childbirth. Although it was cured later, she still lost a lot of qi and blood, so she could not get pregnant after giving birth to her first child. Because of this, Zhuang Lingyu paid so much attention to her only daughter, Ning Xueluo. Originally, this was a taboo for Zhuang Lingyu, and Ning Yaohua did not dare to ask her to have another child. But this time, when the Tang family, especially Sun Lan, who looked so similar to Xueluo, appeared again, Ning Yaohua felt that it was time to bring it up. Thinking of this, Ning Yaohua put on a considerate and attentive expression. He walked over to hold Zhuang Lingyu's shoulder and asked softly, Lingyu, have you thought about what I told you before? Actually, surrogacy technology is very advanced now, and you can choose between a man and a woman. The most important thing is that you don't have to suffer 10 months of pregnancy. Zhuang Lingyu looked a little uncomfortable, but there was no sign of disgust. She frowned and said, I'm already so old. Can I do it? Hearing her tone, Ning Yaohua immediately put his arm around her shoulder and said, Who said that? Even if you say that my wife is only 20 years old, people will believe it. You're already so old, yet you still talk nonsense. Zhuang Lingyu said. Although she was blaming him, she did not seem angry at all. Actually, looking at Xueluo's face that looked so similar to Sun Lan's, she more or less minded it. The thoughts that she had been trying hard to ignore and suppress also surfaced. Who wouldn't want to have a child who had their blood flowing in their veins? If she could have another child, she would definitely teach him more diligently and give him everything. That child would be more perfect than Xueluo. In recent years, there seemed to be more and more people using surrogacy. The madams around her also heard about it. Some time ago, Mrs. Lin gave birth to a son through surrogacy, and that Mrs. Lin was already 48 years old. Maybe she could really give it a try? Although they were old and might not be able to accompany this child for too long, at least there was a gentle and kind sister like Xueluo to take care of him. Xueluo often says that being alone is very lonely, and she really looks forward to having a younger brother or sister. If she really succeeds, she will definitely be very happy. Lingyu, if you agree, I'll cancel all my work and go overseas with you right away. Ning Yaohua was a little excited. I'll think about it. Zhuang Lingyu hesitantly asked, Yaohua, about this matter, should we discuss it with Xueluo? Ning Yaohua immediately said, there's no need. After all, it's still uncertain. Why don't we tell Xueluo after we succeed and give her a surprise? Zhuang Lingyu thought about it and finally agreed. After all, she really couldn't bring herself to say such a thing. Ning Yaohua's plan was perfect. When he had a son, the shares that were originally given to Xueluo would naturally be given to him, the only heir. Xueluo was so filial and obedient, so naturally she would not have any objections. Furthermore, it was the right thing for a son to inherit his father's business. Even the Su family would not be able to say anything against it. Of course, he would not mistreat Xueluo. Furthermore, him allowing Xueluo to successfully marry into the Su family was already the greatest guarantee for her in this lifetime. Chapter 1559. At the Marriott Hotel. Ning Xuelua would hold a press conference here today. After the incident, Chang Li issued a statement denying everything, but Ning Xuelua never showed her face. Knowing that she would hold a press conference today, not only the reporters swarmed there, but also the crowd of onlookers. Most of them were Ning Shi's fans and many of them were Ning Xuelua's own fans. After the incident, Ning Xuelua's fans turned against her in droves. And Ning Shi's fans, under the organization of the fan club led by Zhuang Ku'er, went around speaking for their idol. Although they were all extremely angry, they all remained rational and won the favor of a large number of passers-by. A large number of Ning Xuelua's fans also switched sides to Ning Shi's side. Ning Xuelua, get out of the entertainment industry? Bitch. Apologize to brother Shi. Apologize. Apologize. Ning Xuelua, you shameless liar. Are you worthy of our love for so many years? Ning Xuelua wore sunglasses and a mask and entered the hotel under the protection of more than a dozen security guards. On the stage, Ning Xuelua sat in the middle, looking pale and haggard. Next to her were Chang Li and another senior manager of the company. Chang Li's face was the darkest. She had never expected that Ning Xuelua would quit the entertainment industry. Ning Xuelua's reputation was so bad, and so was her manager. Now, Ning Xuelua could leave such a mess behind and just leave. She could still continue to be a rich missy when she went back. What about her? Her career as an agent was completely ruined. She said that Ning Xuelua had disguised herself so well that she didn't even know about it. How could anyone believe her? Chang Li had already regretted it. Looking at the statement in her hand, she felt even more desperate. Ning Xuelua lowered her head and choked with sobs. I believe everyone knows that a lot of things have happened recently. I know that no one will believe me if I say anything now. But a lot of things are not what they seem on the surface. Because of these things, I sincerely apologize for the hurt caused to my fans. To the fans who are still supporting and believing in me, I am really grateful. Acting is the biggest dream and hobby of my life. But in order to give everyone an explanation, I have decided that from today on, I will quit the entertainment industry forever. As soon as Ning Xueluo finished speaking, the reporters at the scene burst into an uproar. Then the sound of flashing lights rang out one after another. The reporters held their breaths and stared. They were waiting for a big reversal in the future. However, they did not expect Ning Xuelua to leave under the escort of her bodyguards after saying that. In a short period of time, the news of Ning Xuelua quitting the entertainment industry had spread. Everyone on the internet was talking about it. Damn, what does Ning Xuelua mean by that? It's as if there's a huge secret, as if everyone has wronged her. What secrets could there be? If there were, she would have told us already. No matter how many secrets there were, could they change the facts? Even at this point in time, this shameless villain was still playing tricks. Apologize. Where was her apology to Ning Shi? Not a single word. The main point is, Is it enough to just leave the entertainment industry? She pretended to be a rich young lady for so many years and shamelessly took over Ningxi's life. Chapter 1560. Not only Ningxi's fans, but also the onlookers were feeling indignant for Ningxi. Yes. What should we do? How could she shamelessly enjoy everything that should have belonged to Ningxi? She even wants to rob her parents. That's shameless. After the indignation, Ningxi's diehard fans said, "Didn't brother she say it? She has nothing to do with the Ning family, whether in the past, present or future. Elder brother, she doesn't need the identity of a rich princess, and he doesn't need rich parents. Our elder brother, she is a queen. Yes, he doesn't need those blind parents. Brother, she has us." As they spoke, the fans suddenly changed the direction of their discussion. "Don't mention that disgusting bitch. I'll tell you a super exciting thing. Didn't you notice the last sentence of Brother She's acceptance speech when he won the Best Actress award? Of course I did. I can recite it. For my ultimate dream and the person I love the most." The person he loves the most? Does Brother She already have someone he loves? Is it a man or a woman? Oh, I guess it's a girl. She must be a very cute girl. At Xingshi Entertainment. Because the incident that day had happened too suddenly, there were too many follow-up matters that needed to be resolved. After leaving the Golden Palm Awards, Ningxi went to the company with Lin Jiji. They stayed at the company to rest and eat. She didn't stop working until Ning Xuelua's press conference today. Brother Shi, Ning Xuelua is so shameless. She didn't forget to slander you before she left. Ningxi's eyes darkened. She knew that Ning Xuelua's words were actually a warning to her. She might have been afraid of Ning Xuelua in the past, but since she confessed to Lu Tingxiao, she was relieved. Ningxi looked at her cell phone screen. There was a new message on the screen. The sender was Su Yan. "Xiaoxi, can we meet?" Besides, things were different now. Would Su Yan protect Ning Xuelua and make false testimony for her like he did in the past? Ning Xuelua must not be sure. Ningxi knew that with Ning Xuelua's personality, she wouldn't dare to risk her life. As for the fans gossiping about her acceptance speech, Ningxi told Lin Jiji that she didn't think much about it at the time. She just meant the fans, not the special people. Lin Jiji said she didn't need to explain. Therefore, Ningxi didn't pay much attention to it. In fact, from a selfish point of view, she didn't really want to explain. After the matter came to an end, everyone went home to rest. Ningxi walked to the garage and was surprised to find that Shi Xiao was not waiting for her as usual. He opened the car door suspiciously. The next second he jumped up and threw himself at the passenger seat. "Sweetheart." Lu Tingxiao leaned back and carefully caught the girl's body. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. "This is, right." Ningxi immediately took out a golden trophy from her bosom and stuffed it into Lu Tingxiao's hand. She stared at him with sparkling eyes and blushed with excitement as she said, "Sweetheart, this is for you." Lu Tingxiao. It's a very special gift. But she didn't have to keep it, did she? Didn't she feel uncomfortable? Chapter 1561. The moment I received this trophy that day, I actually wanted to do this. I wanted to fly down and give it to the person I love the most. In the end, so many things happened and I couldn't give it to you until today. Ningxi's tone was pitiful. "Good girl?" Lu Tingxiao rubbed the girl's head. "Thank you. I like it very much." Lu Tingxiao knew that. The girl had been looking at him in such a blatant way that others would notice it. Ningxi immediately moved closer to him. She was about to spend more time with Lu Tingxiao when her cell phone rang. It was Tang Nuo. "Hello, Xiao Nuo? Did something happen?" Ningxi asked worriedly. Tang Nuo said, "Nothing. That woman was so shameless as to send someone to tell Mom and Grandma that you asked them to do it. She wanted us to confuse right and wrong. You know my mother's temper. She can't take any of that woman's tricks. Grandma is fine, but when she heard that woman promised to give me a large sum of money and send me to study abroad, she started to waver." Ningxi listened to Tang Nuo's words quietly. The people who were following the Tang family didn't mention it. Besides, Ning Xuelua had retired from the entertainment industry, so it must have been a failure. "What happened then? How did you solve it?" Ningxi asked. "How do you know I solved it?" Tang Nuo asked. "Who else but my brother could do it?" Ningxi chuckled. Tang Nuo said proudly, "I didn't do anything. I just threw a rope over the beam and told them that if they agreed to that woman's terms, I would hang them here." Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It was simple and crude, but it was effective. Besides, she was very touched. Thank you, Xiao Nua. Not long after she hung up, her cell phone rang again. Ningxi was driving, so she said to Lu Tingxiao casually, "Sweetheart, answer it for me." Lu Tingxiao glanced at the name Su Ying on the caller ID. 2 seconds later he picked it up. Lu Tingxiao did not speak immediately, and the other end of the line was silent. Several seconds later, a man's voice came from the other end of the phone. Su Yin sounded like he had drunk a lot and he said intermittently, "Cici? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I know. The person I've wronged the most in my life is you. Is it possible?" The moment he finished speaking, the atmosphere in the carriage suddenly turned cold. Lu Tingxiao, she can't answer the phone right now. Suddenly hearing a man's voice on the other end of Ningxi's phone, Su Yin sobered up and asked harshly, "Who are you? Why do you have Xiaoxi's phone?" Lu Tingxiao pursed his lips and said nothing, but his expression turned even colder. As soon as Ningxi drove out of the garage, she vaguely heard a familiar man's voice from Lu Tingxiao's cell phone, asking who Lu Tingxiao was, so she asked, "Who's calling?" Before Lu Tingxiao could answer, Ningxi saw the name Su Ying from the corner of her eye. Ningxi's face darkened. As expected, it was this fellow. Ningxi tilted her head in Lu Tingxiao's direction and said into the phone, "He is my man. Do you have a problem with that?" Chapter 1562. Ningxi's words were enough to appease Lu Tingxiao. On the other end of the line, Su Yin was silent for a long time before he hung up. She looked at Lu Tingxiao, who had hung up. "Lu Tingxiao, what did that guy say on the phone?" Lu Tingxiao's reaction didn't seem right. Lu Tingxiao pursed his thin lips. "He asked if it was possible for him to be with you." Ningxi was speechless. Ningxi was speechless for a long time before she found her voice again. Her lips twitched as she muttered, "Is there something wrong with this guy's head?" Lu Tingxiao didn't say anything. His dark gaze landed on the girl and his thin lips were tightly pursed. Su Yin had long sensed that there was something wrong with the way he looked at Ningxi, especially at the award ceremony. As a man, he was well aware of the strong desire Su Yin had for Ningxi. His girl was becoming more and more outstanding and dazzling. "Sweetheart, ignore this guy. If you care about someone like him, you're lowering your status." Ningxi's eyes flashed coldly as she said this. Was it possible? Where did he get the courage to ask this question? At the Su residence. Ning Xuelua had just returned from the press conference. Leaving the entertainment industry was just the beginning. There were more thorny issues ahead. As soon as she returned to the old residence, everyone was there. Su Hongguang, Zheng Minjun, Su Sun and Zhao Shanshan were all there. However, Su Yin was the only one missing. "Dad, Mom, Su Sun, Shanshan." Ning Xuelua greeted them one by one. "Hey, look who it is. Our superstar is back." Zhao Shanshan said sarcastically. How could she let go of such a good opportunity to kick them when they were down? Zheng Minjun's expression was ugly. She glanced at Ning Xuelua. "Why are you back so late?" When she didn't know that Ning Xuelua was an adopted daughter, she didn't think much of it. However, ever since she found out that Ning Xuelua was the daughter of a village woman, she felt as disgusted as if she had swallowed a fly when she saw her mother and grandmother in the news. Now she was about to become the laughingstock of all the madams and madams. These few days she didn't dare to go anywhere. She was afraid that the moment she went out, she would be looked at with strange eyes and said that there was something wrong with her brain. She didn't want a real phoenix and let her son marry a pheasant. If it wasn't for the fact that she still held 15% of the Ning family shares in her hands, she wouldn't have been able to tolerate it. Ning Xuelua hid the darkness in her eyes and said in a low voice, "There are still some things to deal with in the company after the press conference." Before Ning Xuelua could finish her explanation, Zheng Minjun interrupted. "What's more important than your husband?" Su Yin hadn't been to the company or home for 3 days. "You don't even care where he went. Is this how you behave as a wife?" "Mom, I'm sorry. I've been too busy these days. I have to deal with all kinds of procedures at Starlight and prepare to report to Ning's International. I'll go look for Su Yin now." Hearing that she was going to work at Ning's International Group, Zheng Minjun's face softened a little, but she still warned her, "You'd better not run around these days. You know how ugly your mother and grandmother's quarrel was this time. I don't even dare to attend private parties now. Don't go out and embarrass me." Ning Xuelua secretly clenched her fists and maintained an obedient face. "Got it, Mom. I'll stay at home and wait for this matter to settle down." Alright, hurry up and find Su Yan. Zheng Minjun waved her hand impatiently. Chapter 1563. As soon as Ning Xuelua left, Zhao Shanshan immediately rushed to Zheng Minjun's side to complain. Mom, I say you're too tolerant. Why did he have to speak to her in such a nice and friendly manner? Our Su family's reputation has been ruined by her. Don't you dare talk so much. Also, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Stop. If I find out that you're talking nonsense outside, don't blame me for not warning you. Zheng Minjun said unhappily. Su Hongguang glanced at the two of them and said sternly, your mom is right. I don't care what you're thinking, but this concerns the Su family's reputation. Watch your mouths. Zhao Shanshan curled her lips and muttered, does she even have such a thing as reputation? Does she even need me to say anything? Su Sun leaned against the sand, his gaze shifting as he said faintly, actually, the person we need to worry about the most right now should be Big Brother, right? After all, Big Brother is the biggest victim in this matter. To a man, the most important thing is his reputation. Which of those young masters in the capital didn't marry a lady from a prestigious family? Yet he was fooled into marrying a fake daughter. Where can Big Brother put his face? Seeing his big brother, who was stronger and more outstanding than him, humiliated this time, Su Sun was incomparably happy. TSK, even the heavens were helping them. The two of them had just gotten married, and Ning Xuelua's matter was already known to everyone. Moreover, the evidence was conclusive, and even the Ning family couldn't cover it up. This time, they were in trouble. Although Su Sun's words weren't pleasant to hear, they immediately hit the point that Su Hongguang and Zheng Minjun were most concerned about. Especially Zheng Minjun. In her eyes, her son was the most outstanding. How could she tolerate such a stain on his reputation? After returning to the bedroom, Zheng Minjun thought about it and couldn't help but say to Su Hongguang, Hongguang, no matter how I think about it, I still feel uncomfortable. Then what do you want? Things have already come to this. Su Hongguang was naturally angry. Zheng Minjun asked tentatively, Hongguang, what do you think about Ning Shi? Actually, these days I see that our Su Yan still has feelings for Ning Shi. Su Hongguang immediately frowned and looked over. Do you think it's not messy enough? After all, Su Yan is already married to Xue Luo and has an ambiguous relationship with Ning Shi. What do you want others to think of Su Yan and our Su family? Zheng Minjun immediately said angrily, how can I not know what you're saying? Naturally, I will do it secretly. How can I let others know? Su Hongguang did not say anything. Zheng Minjun said again, even if Ning Shi is not on good terms with the Ning family, so what? You saw with your own eyes what happened at the wedding last time. The Zhuang family was obviously biased towards Ning Shi. After all, Ning Shi was the young mistress of the Zhuang family. And even if we let Su Yan divorce Ning Xuelua and marry Ning Shi, I believe the Ning family will have nothing to say. After all, the Ning family deceived us first. No matter what you say, we are always right. When our Su Yan marries Ning Shi and draws the Zhuang family to our side, the Ning family won't acknowledge Ning Shi as their daughter. Hearing this, Su Hongguang was finally a little moved, but he still questioned, this is all your wishful thinking. How do you know what Su Yan and Ning Shi are thinking? Zheng Minjun immediately said in a matter-of-fact tone, do you even need to ask? Have you forgotten how much Ning Shi loved our Su Yan back then? Now she is going against Xue Luo in every way, mainly because Xue Luo stole Su Yan. Originally, I definitely did not like that girl, but now, after a few years of not seeing her, that girl has really grown up. She can be considered to be a good match for our Su Yan. Chapter 1564. Ning Xuelua drove away from the Su mansion and immediately made a phone call. What has Su Yan been doing these days? I think he went back to Spring Breeze Town in Sea City and has been drinking since he came back. The person on the other end of the phone answered. Spring Breeze Town? Ning Xuelua frowned slightly. Where is he now? Well? The person sounded hesitant. I'm asking you a question. Ning Xuelua said impatiently. Su Yan is now, at Peach Blossom Cove? What did you say? Ning Xuelua's expression immediately changed. She naturally knew that Peach Blossom Cove was where Ning Shi lived. When did he go in? Ning Xuelua immediately asked, her nails digging into her palms. No. Su Yan didn't go in. He stood outside the whole night. Got it? Keep watching. Ning Xuelua hung up the phone. Her body was trembling slightly because of excessive anger. It took a long time before she finally calmed down. She stopped the car in front of the Su family's Yifeng Group building and found a stone nearby. She gritted her teeth and hit her forehead hard. Bright red blood slid down her forehead and into her eyes, making the woman's face look extremely hideous. Ningxi, one day, all of this, I will return it to you double. Ning Shuilua sat next to the car and picked up her phone to call Su Yan. After the phone rang, it was immediately hung up. Ning Shuilua was so angry that she almost smashed the phone, so she continued to call. On the fourth call she finally got through. Before Su Yan could speak, Ning Shuilua immediately said in an extremely terrified tone. She weakly and painfully moaned while saying, "Brother Yan? Save me. Save me." Su Yan's nervous voice immediately came from the phone, but he deliberately lowered his voice as if he was afraid that he would be discovered if he was too loud. "Shuilua? What's going on? Blood. I've lost a lot of blood. Brother Yan. Am I dying? What nonsense are you talking about? Where are you now? I was at the entrance of your company. I didn't mean to look for you. I know you're in a bad mood these days, so I didn't want to disturb you. But when I got home today, Mom said you haven't been home for a few days. She said I didn't fulfill my responsibilities as a wife and asked me to go find you. I'm sorry. What's going on? Are you hurt? I don't know. I was attacked as soon as I got out of the car. It might be my sister's fans. Stop talking, I'll be right there." After hanging up the phone, Ning Shuilua's weak and pitiful expression immediately turned gloomy. "Ningxi, do you think I don't know what you want? Do you think you can snatch Su Yan away like this? Dream on." Su Yan's mood had been very gloomy recently. He went to the house where he used to recuperate in Spring Breeze Town and looked at the bits and pieces of the time he spent with Ningxi. His mood became even more uncontrollable. He crazily wanted to see Ningxi, even if it was just to hear her voice. As expected, Ningxi did not reply to his message. With the help of the alcohol, he mustered up his courage and made a call. However, he did not expect to be picked up by a man, and Ningxi actually said that the man was her man. At that moment his mood was extremely bad. It was as if a beast was ramming his chest, but he could not find a way out. At that moment he no longer had the right to question her. He was already married. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.